That straight. All right. We are live. So
Yo,
just going ahead and making sure we have all of our different streaming platforms up and running.
I be seeing the message about Facebook sometimes. I mean, I don't know what that means, but I see it sometimes.
Okay, so Facebook is up. And let's just make sure the rock fan is ready. There we go. And as they would say in NASA, all systems are a go. As if we believed in that shit. But anyway,
Right. Yo,
let's.
oh, speaking of which, like,
Mhm.
what you think about Elon with that rocket? What the booster came
The stuff
back
that
and
they've been
called it
showing, the booster
power.
coming back and relanding, I'm like, I don't know how much I believe it. I don't know how much I believe it. I mean, I believe, well, it's possible that he could make the thruster come back and all that, but I don't know. It just sounds like very far fetched. Um,
I mean, I think they did it, and a lot of people were hyping it up. My
but I
thing
wonder how
is,
many times that they fucking blew shit up and didn't work. Yeah, you filmed the
many times.
one time that you got it to fucking work.
Oh, many times, many times.
I see
Um,
John is in the building. What's up, John?
John, what's going on? Uh,
That's
but
what I mean by I don't really buy it. Um, a lot of these places they will show these tests, and they show you the one test when it worked, but
hmm
not the other 400 times that the shit fucking fell apart or blew up or killed a couple of people. They don't show you all of those. And I think what they're trying to show us is this which what that means is this thruster system has to be completely different than a typical thruster system, whereas this one has control. It's able to be controlled, and I would imagine that they would have to have some kind of powerful magnetic system also that probably pulls it, into the housing. Because even then, bringing it back, I think it would just it's one thing taking off, it's another thing keeping a heavy cylinder upright and being able to, I mean, the dimensions of how it flies is just weird. And I see La Senora Chamonique in the building. Um, by the way, La Senora, I got an interview coming up that I'm working on for sometime in November that I think you're going to want to see. Um, I guess it's not that many people in here, so I can go ahead and tease it out. I'm working on getting uh, the man behind the Mysteries of Latin America podcast on for an interview. So that'll be different than the political matrix, but uh, we got a bunch of different stuff that we're in talks, and I think that'll be a fun interview.
that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, by the way, let me put this out there too. I got Jawan, comedian Jawan Cap coming on for an interview tomorrow. Very, very funny young man. And got a lot of things going on positive, so I definitely want to talk to him. So that's what I will say. Oh yeah, and for y'all who are hopping in here who missed our or missed us over on with Abby Do and our friend who's often in the chat, Nahilo Nostrum, or Michael, make sure y'all go check that out also. Show them some support, give them a like, subscribe. And I brought back our ticker so you guys can remember when you come in here, please like, subscribe, share, all those good things. But sorry, I
mm,
was running my mouth too much, Chris.
nah, you good. uh, no, going back to the Elon thing, like to me, it's like okay, you did something, you did something cool, right? All right. However, just the whole concept of we're about to go to Mars and all that other stuff, that's just flat out, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, we know what that is already. I don't even have to say much to you. So, that's even,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even, some people would say, oh, it's debatable. Not for me. So, again, he's playing around with government money, and the word has come out from SpaceX that they've crashed rockets, that they failed, many a time. So just like anything else, if you're doing something to that measure, you're going to need to make mistakes to figure out how to correct, how to perfect things. You got to break it to make sure to figure out how not to break it afterwards.
And
But
I,
anyway,
I agree. I, I agree. My thing that I would say back to that is, uh, are they going to be honest about the fact of it? They don't have it consistently down, and what percentage of the time that this thing actually works versus trying to sell it as if it works like 80% of the time when it really works probably 15% of the time.
Mhm. you even beyond and even beyond that for me, right? My brain gets to moving sometimes, and I have these thoughts, and I'm just thinking, look, you just had a mechanical marvel, and you did some dope shit. Now you on the internet with your thumbs talking about how you care about people, etc., etc. You're talking about Mars. I mean, you could be fine. You have your Starlink, cool. You allow people to communicate through your satellites and for free a lot of times. So, kudos to that. I, sometimes these people do things, and they have to balance out some of the actions so it doesn't
Yeah.
all look, one sided. So on that note, he does, that's good work. On the other hand, it's you could be figuring out something so much more practical that will have a real world impact right away. This is not doing anything right now. I know he's a futurist and he's looking towards the future, but none of that is going to be used to quote unquote go to Mars. That'll be used for some other shit, some more something on the negative side of things instead of the positive.
I kind of wish like a lot of these tech billionaires and stuff like that were like the tech billionaires of the movies and stuff. Um, they're about all this technological stuff and they're just about the tech. We don't have to hear your crazy fucking political views and all this stuff like that. And I just kind of wish that it was more of that. No, I mean, I guess that's all I'll say on that until we get into some of these other topics because I know that he, especially like on one of the topics I have that I didn't list, he will definitely come up in that one. Um, but yeah, that's kind of. I just wish that they would keep their political views and stuff like that separate from all of this, this tech stuff because I mean, not that I got the money to buy a Tesla, but I mean, if I had the money and if he wasn't who he is, I mean, I would be interested in buying one, but I would not want to give a dime to that man. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I wanted to share this before we got going, or I guess I could drop that back down if you still have a little bit more you wanted to say on it.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so this is one of the stories. As you guys can see, we got Bibi Targeted, Hamas Leader Kill. That would be Yahya Sinwar. Um, we are going to get into the Sabby versus Dr. Shiva stuff, and then I did want to talk a little bit about North Korea and Russia and possible involvement in Ukraine. So, but before we get into that, I wanted to get into the story about Cuba. It's or Cuba. Um, it's kind of a messed up story, but here, let's get into it.
Lights went out yesterday evening after the country's main electrical grid failed. And the few that came back on, well, they went out again this morning. CBC's Albert De La Tella has the details.
Another setback for those power restoration efforts in Cuba this morning. The Cuba Electrical Union says that another total outage happened this morning at around 6:15 Eastern. It posted on Telegram that it is working to establish that power. Officials had said before that parts of Havana that they had had their power restored, but now a setback to those efforts. Meanwhile, most of Cuba's nearly 11 million people still remain in the dark. Already regular power outages in Cuba worsened in recent months and became critical yesterday. So the communist government yesterday, they closed schools and non-essential industry and sent many workers home, but that wasn't enough. And just before noon, the country's largest power plant, it went offline and triggered that total grid failure. Earlier in the week, the prime minister, he said that those worsening blackouts were the result of a perfect storm of factors, including deteriorating infrastructure, rising demand, and fuel shortages. In terms of fuel shortages, those deliveries, they have dropped this year with Venezuela, Russia, and Mexico reducing their exports to Cuba. Officials say strong winds from Hurricane Milton, they also hampered deliveries to the island nation. There is concern if those power outages continue, that could mean that food spoils as those refrigerators on the island continue to be without power. Also, water supply, a concern for people since electricity in many cases is required for that. Tourism, it is one of the biggest industries in Cuba. And in fact, it's the third biggest destination for Canadians, according to data from Stats Canada from the first quarter of this year. We have heard from Air Canada on this. They say they are monitoring the situation and that they don't have any flights to or from Cuba today. We also heard from Global Affairs Canada. They say
we're not doing anything to help either. We're just watching.
They say, quote, that they stand ready to provide consular assistance to Canadians as needed. Albert Delatala, CBC
Hit me
News.
up when the power comes on. I'll send you an email.
The blackout comes as tropical storm
I guess she said.
Oscar moves towards the island. That storm is now just under 800 kilometers east of Cuba with sustained winds of over 60 kilometers per hour. Tropical storm warnings are in effect over parts of the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and eastern Cuba.
So yeah, that's that story going on there. It's mostly and a lot of this has to do with just honestly, you could go back to blaming a lot of this on the US from the sanctions that they put on this place for so many years that they're not able to upgrade the power system and that they're not able to get into fuel and stuff to keep it running. The fact that they're running off of fuel the way they're doing it is a very outdated system. And it's the same thing that was going on in Puerto Rico during what was it, Maria? It was the same situation that was going on during, and I don't, if you guys remember when Trump was tossing the rolls of toilet paper out during that time period. So it's maddening, but that is a reality that we deal with. Looks like Puerto Rico. Yeah, it does. It's very similar. Culture is very similar also.
And the paranoia,
want more sanctions.
the paranoia from being attacked also spawns, negative behaviors in response to that. So, it's just all messed up all the way around.
Yeah, La Senora says, but the Miami Cubans want more sanctions for Cuba. Incredible. Yeah, you do got a lot of the, because you got to look at the dynamics of Miami Cubans. Majority of them who have power, who lived there for whiles, are the ones who were the capitalists, who had a lot of money and power before Castro and Che Guevara's revolution. And a lot of them go back to the Batista era, which a lot of them were the wealthy part of society that never gave a damn about the poor in the first place, who were ultra capitalists, who a lot of them ultra racist also towards the indigenous and the black Cuban population. So that mentality that's passed on that they've taken to South Florida is still alive and well. I don't know. Chris can definitely speak on that too, because he's still engaging with it.
Yeah, no, they we spoken on them before. Yeah, they would like to just punish the government there. But that situation requires a lot of nuance and common sense too. Unfortunately, people just tend to get emotional over it, or too political over it. You have to face the reality sometimes.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly, Saul. That's exactly what happened. Basically, that's exactly what basically happened. Um, because even though it wasn't legal, you still had forms of slavery that were going on that island up until that time period. Um, yeah, John was saying my Cuban parents came as orphans. They always wanted to go home, and a lot of the ones who want to go back are the ones who will want to make the place better, despite the problems that it has. And I'm not gonna pretend that it does not have its issues. Every place does have its issues, but if you have the mindset to try to improve it, if you can, more power to you. It's just the fact of you got a lot of Western countries who uh, would rather stomp the place into the ground and make sure it never gets back up. Chris H says, "Yo, I heard from Professor James Smalls that the racists did a mass G-side in Cuba before Batista to force slaves back on the plantation." That is very true. I mean, it's a lot of history to learn about with that, and um, I'm gonna make sure to bring that up with a future guest. Castro is hated by the wealthy that got their
Gerald
shit
Horn
taken
is a
from the
good
revolution.
author to read as well on the matter.
Hmm. Yes. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that subject real quick because you have over 10 million people on the island who are struggling through this, and I use this analogy all the time. I say, if say LA, if the power grid was shut down in LA for 48 hours, I'm talking about the majority of the city. We're talking about roughly about 18 million people. This city going, and they already went, what, 48 hours? They're going into what, the third day, third to possibly fourth day of this. So like 4 days without power. LA would tear
Hmm.
itself apart.
Oh
You
yeah,
would
it would be
see,
the purge.
yeah, it would literally be the purge if you went that long without power here. Because the moment people would start breaking windows and stealing once they know all the cameras are down, oh my god, I don't even I would definitely just put everything in a car and get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that would be unfortunate if that
Yeah,
happened in most major cities.
yeah. So I mean, that's all I had on that. And we're gonna try to kind of get this show moving along and try to bounce through these topics pretty quickly. There was something that I wanted to bring up. Sorry, I don't have it up. But give me a moment to try to pull this up.
Yeah, what are you looking for?
About the Russia situation.
Oh, okay. So, who they piss off now, or what didn't they do now?
Um, Here it is. So this is the story that is going around right now. I don't know how credible it is, but we will see. Let's see. Share. Oh yeah, the robbing the freight trains. People do that kind of stuff all the time. I mean, in KC, and they used to rob the trains all the time. That was a very typical thing. In fact, the Nike trains got robbed very, very often. So shoot, they've even robbed the military trains and stolen napalm. So it says video published by Ukraine allegedly shows North Korean soldiers in Russia. So, a video purported to show dozens of North Korean recruits lining up in to collect Russian military fatigues has been released by Ukrainian officials who say it shows the introduction of troops sent by Pyongyang into this conflict. The video published by Ukraine Center for Strategic Communications and Information Security, which operates under the Culture and Information Ministry, allegedly shows North Korean soldiers standing in line to pick up bags, clothing. Oh my goodness, for real? Damn, the ads are ridiculous. Let's see, where was I? Allegedly shows North Korean soldiers standing in line to pick up bags, clothing, and other apparel from Russian servicemen. The Associated Press could not verify the video independently. That is a key thing. They could not verify this video because I believe it's a strong possibility it might be propaganda. We received this video from our own sources. We cannot provide additional verification from the sources who provided it due to security concerns, says E.R. Solovey, the head of the center. The video clearly shows North Korean citizens being given Russian uniforms under the direction of Russian military, he said. For Ukraine, this video is important because it is the first video evidence that shows North Korean participating in the war on the side of Russia. Now, not only with weapons and shells, but also with personnel. The center claims the footage was shot by a Russian soldier in recent days. It didn't say how the footage was obtained. The location is unknown. So they're saying that allegedly now Russia is there are Russian troops. Well, I mean not Russian troops, but there are North Koreans who are allegedly joining the fight in Ukraine. I've heard numbers, possibly 10,000 or more, who were being sent. So I don't know, Chris. Did you hear that? And what are some of your thoughts?
No, I didn't hear it, but I mean, I don't even see why this is a big deal. If Ukraine is so much under attack, how is it that they're center for bullshit and propaganda and public relations, whatever name of that institution was? They have time to go and find this out. Okay, but again, you make it seem you're begging for money every chance you get, because you're afraid you're going to lose your country. So you should be all hands on deck trying to defend yourself. And I mean, I guess this is all hands on deck trying to defend yourself, but this is George Bush era headlines.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of that's crazy. Look I didn't even pay attention to what's on the top. Vanguard. Yeah, but
yeah, that's again, that's the whole playbook from that era with that type of headline, that type of story. You put it out and said that it could not be independently verified. You told us you saw some Asian looking dudes. Whatever, man. It's nonsense.
yeah,
and if it's true, let's just say, and even if it's true, who cares? So what?
Well, I look at it like Zelensky is just trying to make it seem like they're more at threat. That's his goal. Oh, it's getting to the point, and also I think it's propaganda that can be used to say, see, they're doing so badly that they got to bring in North Korean troops because Russia's losing so badly. And not to mention, Russia has tons and tons and tons of troops that they can use.
Yeah, they're not trying to wage a war in that particular method. So they're not going to line up 500,000 men, lined up in formation at the border. They'll protect their border a different way. They'll put their soldiers in different places, etc. It won't be, the 18th century version or earlier version, that idea of war.
What's up, Rick? I mean, I look at it like this, and say, for instance, let's say it is true. They might possibly decide, you know what? Why not get some conscripts from that country? That way, we don't have to have in the media images of more of our troops going home, injured or possibly KIA'd. And so it could just, and also, Russia has not been given full like war powers to like completely unleash. So because this is still considered, can't remember the terminology they use, but like a limited conflict or something like that. They're not given full on war powers. So that could be possibly why they're like, well, we'll take some other people to come in here, and if you want to fight or you want to send us some troops, we'll take it. So I mean, I think it's I don't think it's anything to really worry about. It's just the propaganda that's been going on from I would say from Ukraine, them trying to say, see, we're doing better, and if we just need a little bit, see how weak they are, that they need to bring in other troops, and they're trying to get more money to keep this thing going.
It just further evidence that the majority of people are just they're unaware, or they're just zombies, or they don't care. I mean, it's a few groups, but this was such a lazy attempt too. They didn't put any effort into that story. None of it. Somebody said something. North Korea, Russian weapons, uniforms, army, military. North Korea, military, men, military.
Yeah, I mean, that's two stories in a row where Russia, Venezuela, and North Korea are like brought up, because Venezuela is brought up too, even within the Ukrainian stuff. I won't do the whole 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon and like lay it all out and bore you guys with all that. But yes, they do use that. Yes, he does. So I just wanted to share that real quick, and so we can hop on to the next story and keep this show moving quite along. Oh, I completely forgot about, let's talk about Kamala's media blitz.
She's been all over the place. I mean, which I suppose she should be, considering that there's about 3 weeks before the election. She should be outside, but she never sounds good. And I'm not partial to her. I'm not a supporter of hers. I'll put that out there. And so, of course, that's going to, my views of her would be jaded by somebody who didn't know any better. But just giving her a chance and listening to her, she doesn't sound as if she has command of the English language, of how to construct a sentence, of how to be like, she doesn't know how to naturally converse with people. Not, she has to try to be funny. She has to try to be serious. She has to try to be knowledgeable. It always looks, she's always trying to fit in somewhere instead of just being there. I saw Bill Clinton, I saw a clip of Clinton, and I just shook my head, because dude still has that ability to just speak, to have, again, that's, you don't have to like him. What I'm saying is, he just has that ability to speak to and with people that kind of disarms people. Kamala, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's remember we had talked about this a couple months back, and I was like, if I'm her people, my goal is to keep her away from media as long as I can. I mean, I know she'll get the criticism for not doing interviews and all that. But what is worse, getting criticism that you're not doing interviews and you're just doing stump speeches, or have interviews and they possibly go really, really badly? Um, I think that and crazy enough to me, the one that skewered her the most would probably be like the 60-minute one. That one probably screwed her over the most. And this is a message that I have.
The clips
Just
from Fox
strategic.
weren't good either.
But see, that's what I was going to go into. This is one thing I would say strategically to Fox. When you go in so heavy-handed and so nakedly partisan, that's what it looks like. It does not look like you're conducting an interview as a journalist. It just looks like an opponent. I mean, you could have very easily heard almost every one of those questions asked directly from Trump. And so if you're asking everything from a combative manner, it's going to people who don't know any better, or who are looking at it completely as third parties who don't have, a dog in it, or don't have any kind of, frustrations towards either one of the candidates, are going to look at that as a hostile interview. And a lot of times when you're the journalist and you give a hostile interview like that, it just looks bad on you more than calling them out and pointing them out, in my opinion. So I felt like they probably didn't have to go as heavy-handed, and they could have still made her look as bad. The 60 minutes, I felt, made her look bad because he wasn't like very adversarial. He just kind of was very calm, kind of laid stuff out, didn't interrupt her every couple of minutes, and just let her talk, and it just looked bad.
Yeah, the 60-minute one looked bad. The last one, the Fox one in particular, because they kept, forcing the clips online. Again, she's 50 some odd years old, I think, right?
59, I believe.
Okay, so she's involved in politics. She already knows how Fox News moves. She knows all of this, and she still went in there and still looked bad. I'm how Fox comes down. This is nothing. This is what they were doing in the 90s, as far as I'm concerned. I don't watch Fox often, but this is how they've always been towards the other side. They don't try to pretend that they're not for the Republican or conservative person or topic. They don't hide that. So given that she went there, she wasn't even ready to go play ball in that arena. Is just like, she wasn't even prepared with any like sharp comebacks, or her personality didn't show shit. She's just unable to do anything. And if she thinks that's adversarial, then I mean, she's lucky she doesn't talk to an independent, somebody from the independent media. They'll really be asking her some tough questions. And it wouldn't even have to be aggressive, it wouldn't even have to be, in the tone, because, I know every day it's not so much what you say, it's how you say your delivery and all. I know, you have to take that stuff into account sometimes too. But, even knowing that people are going to be hostile to you, you should have been prepared to deal with that, and you weren't.
Well,
and again,
but
she ran up and did the, it's Fox.
But I would push back. I would push back. Who do you feel from the Democrats who has went on Fox and did a great interview? Because I don't really feel like any of them have gotten out with a so-called good interview, because it's all adversarial. I mean,
Barack handled O'Reilly well enough. Again, it's all a stage, but the way they wrote it, the way they wrote that match, Obama handled himself quite well when speaking to O'Reilly.
But
right?
in the defense, Barack is probably one of the best political orators that we've seen in our lifetime. I mean, the fact that it would take the best that we've ever seen to go on and be able to do that.
Bernie's handled himself well there as well. A lot of politicians have gone on Fox with their ignorance. Some have lost it, gotten to screaming matches, but she just looked like she's just pathetic. I'm sorry. She's just not sharp at all. She's just really, really not. And I didn't have a problem with what Fox did, to be honest. Not
No,
that
and
I
I'm
care.
just saying. Well, I'm just saying. Well, but you tend to be the type of person where you like more of an adversarial tone in the interview. I think a lot of more average citizens, that's a put off to them. And so I'm not trying to think about it from the way I see it. I'm trying to think about it from a 55-year-old, upper middle class voter. How are they going to see it? And I guarantee you a lot more of them are probably going to look at Fox as the negative one in that scenario versus looking at Kamala's inadequacies. Because it's kind of like an animal. You yell at your dog and you can say the nicest thing, but they hear the tone. They don't hear the content of what's being said. Like you could go up to your dog, hey, you want me to take you to the vet and put you to sleep? And the dog is all up in your face and all happy because they're paying attention to the tone, not what you're actually saying. And I would compare a lot of voters to that. A lot of them hear tonality, and the tone with it being aggressive. I think that's more what many of them heard was an aggressive tone, not
There's
just.
this the thing. There's ways to handle that. And what I'm saying is she didn't even make it to level 1 in being able to deal with that. She should not her team should not have lined her up to even go there because she's not
Oh,
quick.
I agree.
She's
I
not
agree.
quick-witted. So
I don't think
and
it's
again,
anything.
even with the 60 Minutes thing, or with Charlemagne, or with who else did she do something
Those
with?
I felt hurt her far more than the Fox.
It's the same thing. She never sounds right. She just sounds like she's off every time. I don't have any sympathy for her. But again, as I said, from the time they picked her, they selected her because they said, who can we use, who we can waste all of their political capital on? And they don't, because they're going against Trump. Who can we just throw out there? It's her. They don't have any plans for her beyond this.
Well, I don't think that was the calculus. I felt
They knew they was going to lose.
Well, I don't know. Well, I'm not certain that they're going to lose. I'm still not in that camp yet.
4 months ago, it was a different candidate. They knew they was going to lose.
I look at it like this: what could they have done? They didn't
Left
have
Joe
the time.
Biden.
They couldn't have done that. If they left Joe Biden, I look at Joe Biden had zero chance, absolutely no chance, and I felt like they put themselves into that pickle because there was no way that they could remove Kamala. There was no way that they could just put somebody above Kamala. If they would have done that, they would alienate a bunch of their voters. And so from the moment that they made it Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they kind of tied themselves to a sinking ship. That's what I feel. So the damage was already done the moment that they were selected. And so I don't think that there was a way to get out of that, because one of the strongest bases of the Democratic Party are black women voters. You would have kicked Kamala to the curb, you would have lost a lot of them, and you would have definitely lost. You wouldn't even be looking at you wouldn't be looking at a 50-50.
I don't even roll with that, because in 2020 black women wasn't messing with her anyway. So I just think this is something they're forcing onto people.
Well, I'll put it this way: in the primaries, they weren't
correct.
But when they get a candidate, because there are so many who still fall into this lesser of two evils game, they're going to hold their nose and vote. And being somebody who was in that camp before, it's not hard for me to see. I like, for instance, like I bring it back to the Hillary thing. I did not want Hillary. I did not support Hillary, but I felt like I'm in a swing state. I got to vote. I can't, vote for Trump. And so there's a lot of people who will hold their nose and go and vote for what's her name? Hillary in that case. And I think that there are a whole lot of voters who are going to be in that same mode. Maybe not in the primaries, they're not going to support her. But if she is the candidate, they're going to support whoever that vote blue, no matter who. I mean, we got to be honest. That's still a very, very strong contingent of the Democratic voter.
That it's always been that. So that's what I'm saying. They would, whether it was Joe Biden, the black woman was going to vote for Joe Biden again. They would have voted. They'll vote for Kamala. If it was anybody else, they would have came out to vote for whoever the Democratic Party's nominee was, especially considering Trump is on the opposite side of that. So
I don't know. I think that they would have lost. I think they would have lost some voters if they would have decided, we're going to put Gretchen Whitmer up and Pete Buttigieg.
These are the people who have been saying that they will vote for fire hydrant over Donald Trump.
I hear that, but
they were going to come out, and they didn't support her, and they didn't even give her no money. She didn't even. Not only did she not even get delegates or anything, she didn't even raise much money. She's not even she's not even a go-getter with the money like that. People are choosing to give her, but they're not like, there's no energy around her compared to like the energy around Trump, the energy around Obama, even some of the energy around like George Bush and them back then, Clinton for sure. There's no energy around this girl. She wasn't getting it.
I look at comparing the primaries to general election as just two different things. I mean,
they're gonna vote blue every time. It don't matter.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, in the primaries, of course, nobody wanted this woman at all. It was clear and obvious. But
the advisors behind her in the Democratic Party, the elite, if you will, within their party structure or their side of the bird, if you will, these are the same ones telling us that if they got rid of Kamala, black people would be mad. These are the same ones who are telling us that men are women. So I don't pay them any mind. And they don't even talk to black people. That's the funny part. Because they got a couple churches here and there and a couple sororities here and there, that does not speak for the vast majority of black people. Even though we know, though, they're going to vote Democrat most of the time.
Well, where I would slightly disagree is we're talking about black voters versus black people as a whole. A lot of black people as a whole don't vote. Being honest, a lot of black people as a whole can't stand either party and will stay home. But I'm not talking about just black people as in the whole community. We're talking about specifically black voters, the ones who are going to come out and vote every single election. And I believe a lot of them would have felt snubbed. And a lot of them would have, just like how a lot of black men, and I'm not talking about just black men as a whole, I'm talking about black men who vote. That's what happened with Hillary. The super predators, all that stuff caught up with her. And a lot of them who would have voted didn't vote. I think a lot of the ones who were against Hillary, who weren't going to vote for her in the first place, didn't. And I think the same thing happened with Biden. A lot of them, because of the super predators and all that stuff that he did, the Jim Crow Joe stuff, I think a lot of them, the barbershop, the barbershop type, are not going to mess with him, period. And many of them don't vote anyway and haven't voted. I mean, so I think we got to also parse between black voters who vote on a regular and just black voters who have a political opinion. Because I think if we go into just the black community as a whole, of course, a whole lot of them are not the same as the ones who are going to show up and vote.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think that just like how you had for Hillary, a lot of black men who vote, who decided not to vote in those 3 states, I think, yeah, you would have had to vote blue no matter who. If they would have swapped out Kamala, who would have voted? But I think a big contingent of black vote, I think a big chunk, just like how Hillary lost those 3 states, I think the same thing would have happened with them if they did that, moving Kamala off. That's just,
And and that's why I don't see this upcoming election being close at all.
I mean, I do. I don't. I guess after 2016, I just never bought into the whole Trump having this huge outswell support. I've always felt his support is capped. It has a ceiling on it. Now, are those people who support him fervent supporters that will like self-immolate for him? Yes. Will they literally take bullets for him? Yes. But I just don't think that he's increased that number. In fact, if I look into how many older ones have kind of passed away over time and people who I know of who said, I'm not going to vote for Trump again, I don't see him getting those people back. And so I see a drop in his numbers, and also know the large mass of anti-Trump vote that's out there. So because he's polarizing, for the amount of people that he has who feel strongly for him, he also has that equal amount who are strongly against him. And when I lived in Florida, yes, I do remember it being heavily Trump areas. But still, even though it was heavily Trump areas and I didn't see a whole lot of Biden supporters when I left, the state still was kind of a toss-up towards the end, and it broke Trump's way. But there was still a whole lot of non-Trump voters that were out there, even though I don't know where I wasn't running into no Biden supporters.
Again, outside of the big, my analysis says outside of the big cities, it's not that close. And the big
No, I'm
cities,
saying even in Jacksonville, which is kind of goes back and forth with blue to red, I still didn't see the Biden support.
yeah,
I didn't see the Hillary support even.
yeah, the cities are loud, and they're the media centers, whether it's Manhattan or LA or Chicago or wherever else in Texas maybe, but at least the first 2 states are named by city.
And then I
They
would throw in
control a lot of the narrative. I think underneath that cloud of bullshit is where like we can hear like the real shit.
Yeah, I think there's also a degree of people who are politically outward expressive. I think you'll have people I would say people on the East Coast in general are more open with their political beliefs, whether that's the Northeast down to the South. I would say the whole East Coast is more open. Like I
The
saw
Midwest can keep it quiet.
the Midwest people are not going to talk about religion, or they're gonna keep politics and religions. Those are 2 things they are not going to talk to some random person about. Period. I thought about how many times where I was seeing bumper stickers that had all this political stuff on the back when I lived in Jacksonville versus when I moved back to KC. I literally saw zero. I saw nobody with nothing on their cars. I mean, whereas in Florida, I saw work trucks that was like, if 10% is good enough for God, it's good enough for the government. I didn't see none of that stuff because those people I feel like are more cognizant that if I put this on my work truck, I could lose business to people who don't believe the same way. And then when I get out here to Florida, I think it's more I mean, California, I see more people who are just sports related, but even in the Midwest, a lot more people are a lot more bottled up on how they lean politically. Even though Kansas, most of the time I was growing up, was mainly pretty red. Missouri would kind of be you had major blue areas within the two, but the states as the going size, it looked red all over the whole thing except for a couple of blue blips where most of the populations were at. But I
So
I
do you
just think
think?
I think it's a lot of here's another thing. Right now, Kamala has more of a lead in white female voters. I
Yeah,
think
I
that
think
that's
most all the Democrats have that stat though, right?
no. I'm talking about over Trump. They didn't have that stat over Trump. Trump still had a strong
So
chunk
in
of the
26,
white women vote, and um, right now Kamala has a higher white woman voter support than Hillary had. Hillary and
hmm,
Biden, and so that's where I say whereas she might be losing some black male voters and she might be losing some Hispanic support, that all that running for Republicans is kind of helping her because she's getting the more of the Nikki Haley types.
hmm.
Now I wouldn't depend on that, but hey, that's the calculation they made. That's the reason why I say, and then with the surge in black female supporters, and I've seen a large uptick. Now, granted, I do see plenty of them who are like, they not messing with Kamala. I'm not gonna say that it's not both out there, but I'll just say the engagement of black women for this election, either pro for staying out of it, black women's like their political viewpoint or lane has definitely been way more, out there than it's been.
They voted 96% for the Democrats in 2020. They probably voted a similar number in 16. We know for sure in 12 and for
I
sure
don't know if it's
in
that high.
08. I mean, this is normal. This is normal voting patterns. This has nothing to do with the candidate. The only number that will be um, is indicative of any kind of worth of note is just how many actually come out to vote versus those who don't. As we saw, there was a record high in '08, and from '08 on down, it has from 8 forward, it has steadily declined. Not by huge numbers, but it's been a decline. So, that's
No,
the
what
number that I'll be interested in seeing.
now what I was saying as far as percentage wise, they might be still in the 90 plus percentile. I'm just saying the amount is higher that have recently registered. The amount of those same black women is a higher percentage of the black community. So that's
Yeah, I
where I
want to
say it's
see.
a little bit different.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I'll be looking forward to is like the exit polling and to see if
Hmm.
we get any truth to it. Um, I really hope that they don't pull any nonsense again with this election. There's just too much shit going on. It'd
There's
be nice.
always it's always going to be something pulled.
It
I
would be
we
nice to just get a winner or a loser. 2016 we knew who won. 2012 we knew who won. '08. You know, this one I know what happened in 2020. That's my opinion. Let me just say that. Now we're in 2024. I think the same forces are going to try something. Uh, they're going to try. They're going to try something.
I mean, I don't see any more elections coming up for the next probably 20 years that are going to be clear cut. I think every single election is going to be a replica of 2020 to some degree. It's going to be shouted in doubt and shrouded in a lot of people not certain what's happened either direction. That's what I think we're in for. But off of the Kamala for a moment, a little humor. Did you see your boy Trump
at the dinner at the roast?
No, I didn't know there was a roast. I'm talking about the when the people passed out and he decided to DJ a little bit for everybody.
Oh yeah, he was just standing there 30 minutes side to side. I mean, he wasn't even moving that quick. But yeah, I saw that. But did you see the roast from the what is that, the correspondence dinner or whatever it is? I don't know.
I don't know if you can pull it up. I didn't see it at all.
Oh, you didn't see him? He was roasting them. Oh my goodness. It was bad.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I have a hard time listening to Trump for long periods of time.
He killed them at the dinner. I mean, Chuck Schumer was right next to him. He tapped on me on his shoulder, called him a woman. You know what I'm saying? Nah, he got his shit off there. Of course, Kamala didn't go.
Rick says the Al Smith dinner.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't see none of the clips from that?
Nah, none of it.
Nah, son, he was roasting, son. And again, it's just theater. It's just stupid. You know what I'm saying? But Kamala didn't go, and yeah, it was just bad decision on her part.
No, I think it was a smart decision on her part. I mean, you've already brought up.
No, it was a smart decision, but a bad one at the same time.
No. If she's not going to be able to do it, and she is going to fail and fall flat on her face, then it's wise to stay away from it. I mean, I'm because at this point now, she got to be careful. If she could show up to one of those things, say one wrong thing, and completely dismantle everything. I mean, her campaign is a literal souffle right now. What'd you say?
No, I was just saying what they scream, fair use or something like that.
Fair use is not our content. We're just using this to education, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, whatever they say.
This one looks blurry.
I don't know. Or pull it up on what is it? On Twitter, and we should be safe.
Yeah, one of the dudes did one of them say that they? I don't know. Hold on, let me see. I didn't want to go to Fox, but fuck it, let me just go to Fox because
Fox they don't normally strike people.
Political one-liners and
yeah, they don't normally go after people. Let's see. Harris is listed as a pro wordsmith. Yeah, PA decides this selection 1 billion cent in state alone, or spent in state alone. That's what Dirt Diggler says on the Rockfin side. I agree. This is all going to come down to. It's going to all come down to Pennsylvania. Hey, Liz. Liz is in the building. What's up, babe?
Liz, what's good?
Out there driving. Hopefully, she's being safe. I don't know. I know. I mean, let's see this. I'll hold my comments.
Tremendous thing. It's a tremendous dinner. I've come here with my father. So it was 3 times, but it was also many times before that, a long time ago. And it's a very special dinner. And you've done a fantastic job, Cardinal. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I'd like to thank Your Eminence very much, and members of the clergy, so many people I know. Speak.
All right, hold on. Let me find a different one.
I think Your Eminence. Yeah.
No, he was.
I've noticed that he's been as far as like him on the campaign trail, besides the dancing that's been a little bit funny, he's just back to his normal flip-floppy self. Oh well, I'm going to use the troops on the enemy within, and I'm not going to use the troops. I didn't really mean that, but I do mean that, and I'm like, oh my goodness, who knows what the hell this man is actually going to do when he gets in office if he wins?
Okay.
Because he literally takes both sides of almost
Every
every
video
issue.
I pull up, there's something wrong with the audio. Ain't that weird? What's up with that?
Or maybe they don't want you. Maybe they don't want you getting a hold of. Let me see if I can
Why they
find it
doing that,
on.
Mark? Why they playing games?
I'm gonna try to see if I
Why
can
they
find it
wanna
on.
play games on me?
Let's see.
Hold on. I don't know what's up with this. All right. I gave them a chance. So now I'm gonna go to just Twitter to look for it. Because they acting stupid. I pulled up 3 videos. The sound didn't work on any of them.
Here,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know what.
send you. Well, I don't know if I could try to send this one to you. Let's see. What is it? Defiant L's from Colin Rugg. Do you see that one? Or do you want me to play this one? Because I have one on the screen already.
I don't know why the sound is not sound.
Here. Let's see how this one works that I have.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Marcus, and then you pull it up. All right?
Men have periods, but then I met Tim Waltz. Well, I better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this
And
one
then randomly
quick,
start
especially.
working. You heard that,
The
right?
city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris doesn't sound
Is
like
that
it.
me sharing the screen?
But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
I can't hear anything, Marcus.
A major issue of this race is childcare, and Kamala has
Do you
put
guys
forward
hear
a
anything?
concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece
Yeah,
of
it's
advice
playing.
I
It's on
would
the screen.
have for her in the
I
event that
don't
she
hear
wins
you. I
would
don't
be
hear anything.
not to let her husband Doug anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very
Anybody
glum.
here?
Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Oh, that was good. I mean, you didn't hear any of that, Chris?
No.
Yo, could the chat? Could you guys hear that? Yeah, Saul heard it. Can you hear me, Chris?
Now I can, but it sounded like it was going in and out. But even on my end, it wasn't coming up.
It might be something going on with your audio right now. Yeah, the chat can hear it fine.
It was very weird.
Shout out Kenneth Ellison. Glad to see you.
I think maybe because I'm using the microphone. I don't know, but it shouldn't even matter.
Oh, I heard you go. I hear you going in and out now.
But anyway, I heard most of the jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like before this, that's why I brought it up. But no, he was cooking them. He was cooking them. He had some good one-liners. Whoever helped him write it, kudos to them. Again, this was supposed to be entertaining. God knows how to be entertaining. You know what I mean? That's not an endorsement, but it works. You have your so-called enemy to the left of you, and he's laughing. Yeah, you didn't hear me, right, John?
You sound a little muffled now. I can make out what you're saying, but you
There you
still
go.
sound a little muffled.
No, he's doing a good job. You know what I mean? Where he's supposed to do a good job, but again, this Vince McMahon homeboy, I expect no less.
Shout out to Sinead. Sinead's one a long time supporter of the show. Glad to see her in the chat. Um, uh, I honestly think now that you mention it, it probably could have been a good opportunity, especially if she would have just had somebody write her jokes for her. In a situation like this, when you can go up with canned notes, I just worry that she would have tried to go off script.
I didn't hear what you said up until canned notes.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like something's going on with your audio because I kind of heard myself in the background for a little bit. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that. We could stop this one and move on to the next topic because I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. Part of me also wonders how much of, and I'll ask you this, since you do believe that Trump is more than likely going to win, which things do you think that he is going to actually put into place when he would be president elect? Like, what kind of things do you think are going to pass, or do you think just a lot of this is just talk and he's not going to do much of anything when he gets into power?
I think it'll be similar to what he was able to pass in, between 16 and 20. I believe maybe any tax breaks, tax cuts he wants to, get done. I believe he'll find some agreement in Congress on that note. Any type of funding for the military, he'll be able to get that done. Other than that, I don't see him being able to enact a lot of. Look, he said he was going to build a wall the first time around and he was going to have Mexico pay for it. That never happened. We knew it wasn't going to happen. So a lot of what he talks about, the more grander gestures that he talks about, the chances of those happening, I have them at 0. Again, things like taxes, tax cuts, more spending in certain sectors of more government spending in certain sectors of the economy. I could see that happening, barring any kind of, crazy attack or, any kind of craziness like that. It will just continue moving in the same direction.
And I want to put John's comment up on the board too. John says he won't be running anything. He will be told what to do, which I agree. I don't believe like any of the stuff that he's necessarily saying is stuff that he hasn't been cleared to say. So I think that all the stuff that he talks about is stuff that other people around him have approved him to talk about, because that's the stuff that they'll put their weight behind.
I guess with him, the question is more, what will he veto as opposed to what will he sign into law?
Well, I don't think that he'll have to. I don't really think it'll be much that he'll veto, because I don't see the House necessarily going back to the Democrats in this next term.
Yeah, but I'm saying if the Republicans go crazy in the House with their legislation, that's why I said the only thing interesting will just to see how much he actually pushes back on that part of his party.
Well, see, that's the part which makes me nervous about Trump. I don't see him vetoing anything that they put through. I don't think he'd veto anything. I think he would literally pass every crazy thing that they would put up, because I believe that he does what his donors want, and whoever pays him enough money, he's going to do what they ask.
Yeah, and I don't think Adelson is with banning abortions, so I don't think if they put that on his desk, he won't sign that. That much I would say.
I don't know. Has she said that she's against that or not?
They're just not. That particular group of people is not. They're not opposed to abortion.
I look at it as, I don't think she would care either way for what I think. I don't think Adelson cares either way. So if it came up, that's something she would allow him to do if he felt he wanted to. I feel like there's only some issues that I feel she is hardcore about, but I don't know. She could be down for the pro-abortion ban because it's not like she is spending money on both sides of the aisle. She has been always heavily committed to the right. She's always been that way. So is Sheldon Adelson, whereas some of these Zionist donors are they're a little bit more flexible as long as they don't care as long as if you're a Republican, Democrat, whatever you might be, as long as you're going to, make them happy on their one topic, which is Israel. They don't really care about the rest. They're like, you can whatever, Green New Deal, go for it. You want to pass what non-binary bathrooms, whatever, do it all. I don't care. But I felt like those who kind of flow back and forth are only worried about that one issue. They don't care as much. But I feel like whenever you say, no, I'm a Republican, I think it's more likely she probably would be kind of down with the whole abortion ban stuff. And shout out to old man Barker. I believe he came over from Abby and Nahilo's show. So welcome to our chat and our show, and thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I got Trump in the landslide on my card. As I look at it, yeah, I see it being a blowout. It doesn't matter. I only brought up the abortion thing because, I only brought up the ban because that's one of the major talking points that the Democratic Party is using. One of their reasons why you should support Kamala is that he would ban it. Me personally, I don't think he would. And if he did, then you know what? The states, you do what you need to do. Then at that point, let's just see how serious Democrats are, right? Because then they should be the ones screaming states' rights, leave us alone. But they're just so pussy. Like, they'll probably let it happen so they could bitch some more about it.
I don't know. I just my assessment of the matter is I don't see them doing that, just letting it happen, because then if they're looked at as if they didn't actually fight for it, then they would actually get some backlash from the voters, because the voters who they listen to, those voters care about this, and there are certain demographics which they will try to appease these demographics, whereas they don't give a damn about other demographics. And I think that's some of the nuance with it, that they don't treat all the demographics the same. They don't just ignore everybody. And I think that there are some who they feel like they need to please to keep some kind of legitimacy to the system, because the moment that the system loses its legitimacy, the moment that they can't get millions of people out there to vote, the donor money goes away, them staying in office goes away. I mean, all the perks and privileges start going away. And I don't think that I don't look at, even though I don't give a lot of credit to most average voters, I don't think that they will be that passive to just take that, outright, we're not going to fight for this, and then just say, oh, well, we're still going to come back and vote for you. I don't buy that. Now, will they not be nuanced on a whole bunch of other issues? Yes, because most people don't care about things that don't directly affect them. And I think a lot of the population of women voters are the abortion issue is something that they feel passionate about. And so there will be response and movement because those voters care about that. As far as any kind of actual real social justice in other ways, qualified immunity and things like that, no, they're not going to push hard on that. They're not going to push hard on some kind of healthcare program, because many of them like their private health cares and they can afford them. And so
And people are stupid because it's the 21st century. There's many different ways you can take care of yourself and prevent certain things. And it is still a topic of discussion that people are getting emotional over. It just goes to show we have not made much progress at all. So it's it it's a sad commentary on the society and where we are. The fact that you getting up, the fact that you're gonna get up and go vote for a scrub like Kamala based on an abortion, it should just tell you the entire system is bad. And I would say the same thing for the people on whatever their reasons for voting the other side for Trump are. All these people are lost, if you ask me.
I mean, I get that, but in a sense of just trying to analyze the system and all that, um, I think that we still got to try to suss out the reasonings on what may happen and why each thing may happen. And just like for
But
those
these
people
people don't
who,
think. The people we're talking about, the average voter, they don't think. They just go with, look, if you talk to them when they do these man on the street conversations, or you just talk to people outside, you can just tell from, it doesn't take long into a conversation with somebody in line at the supermarket to tell, like, oh my God, they heavily dosed up on Fox or CNN or whatever. You can just tell. It's very easy to tell. A lot of these people don't think it's, oh shit, the Yankees are on. But I gotta check the score. But they don't think. You know what
they're
I'm saying?
losing.
It's just like, it's my team, your team, and that's it. It doesn't matter what my team does as long as we win. Whatever your team does, you guys are scumbags and blah 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 blah. They're just still stuck in the partisan, their partisan ways. But again, the people born in the 40s, they're in their 80s right now. The people born in the 50s, they will be in their 80s in the next decade. Things will inevitably change once they're no longer a group to consider having to chase after a vote.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that
That's a fact, Barker.
though I think the average voter is, I don't give them a lot of credit. I think that on the one or two issues that they're deciding to vote on, they'll pay a little bit of attention on those. That's as much as
Abortion's
I
not
give them.
hard to. There's no nuance to it. It's abortion. Oh, I want abortion. Okay, who's for abortion? Okay, this was for abortion. I'm voting for this one. Nothing
Yep.
else matters.
Yeah,
They could want to
no.
raise your property taxes. They could want to limit what you learn in school. They could want to allow your kid to do any whatever. And again, but hey, they're for abortion. All right, cool, got it.
Well, it's the same thing on the other side of that issue too, with the anti-abortion group. It's the same. I mean, I remember like especially growing up in Kansas, you hear about the Dr. Tiller thing. I mean, a woman who literally listening to Rush Limbaugh year after year decided to hop in her car and drive to the state of Kansas and wait for him to come outside and shoot him and kill him because he's an abortion doctor. And multiple people who have done that. And so for them, that was that one issue. And the state I grew up in, there is a whole lot of one single issue voters who abortion is their one and only thing they care about. And I'm not talking about pro, I'm talking about anti-abortion. So a lot of them want a nationwide ban.
Those are the people that Wesley Snipes was talking about in Blade, the ones who ice skating uphill.
I mean, and the crazy thing about it is, it's literally in the Kansas state constitution. Abortion is in the constitution, so you can't get rid of it. So what they started doing, the reason why I think they got rid of the last one. There's like it's illegal to make abortions illegal, but there are no abortion clinics in the state of Kansas because what they did was they just made a whole bunch of like unrealistic terms that they would have to be able to meet. They said, oh well, you got to have a ER doctor 24/7 and you got to have walls this wide and ceilings this high, and what they did is they came up with a whole bunch of different zoning laws and made it so hard for them to be able to keep up with all the zoning laws that it put them out of business. And so, I mean, there's ways that those people who are pushing for those things eventually do get it done. And I think that battle outside of the congressional level, that battle that's been going on the ground between abortion activists and what pro-life, pro-choice, those activists on both sides fuel those candidates and keep them in power or get them out of power. So I think it's something that's always going to be a contested thing. And I think the moment that a Democrat is seen as not seriously pushing for that, it will possibly be it could be the end of their career. Can I be pro-life, pro-choice? That's I consider my position pro-life, pro-choice, John, actually. In my personal life, I don't believe in having an abortion, but I also don't believe in telling somebody what they're going to do. So as far as me, what I'm going to do, yes. What I believe, if somebody was asking my advice, is different than what I feel like should be done legislatively. Yes, I agree. There's no problem solving in the US, but just trying to theoretically think about it. So I guess, yeah, we can hop off of that issue. And I guess we'll briefly talk about this before we move on to the main story that me and Chris have done a little bit of conversation about, and definitely got a group of people's blood boiling. So let's go ahead and get this Bibi situation out of the way. As we all know, leader of Hamas, the man who is credited with actually, I guess, being the organizer and orchestrator of October 7th, Yahya Sinwar was supposedly taken out. And it's been so much, consternation about him and talk about, oh, he died like a coward, which is kind of crazy. He literally died with a sword in his hand, still trying to get up and fight after losing part of his arm. I don't know. To me, it doesn't come across as any more not cowardly than that.
What are
Still
you
trying to
willing
fight
to
to your
sacrifice?
trying to fight to your dying breath, And so I look at it, it's a lot more cowardly to sit from afar and drone people and try to use rockets and let me use your people as a human shield so that I don't have the possibility of any of my people having to actually go into harm's way. I look at the Israelis as the most cowardly military in the world, but that's a whole nother situation. But anyway, Yahya Sinwar was killed, and then there has been a targeted attack, drone attack, which dropped down to below. I want to say it dropped down between, was it 200, under 200 feet, and was able to fly in under radar and actually land a strike on what is believed to be one of Netanyahu's homes. Now, he was not home at the time, but it's just interesting that, okay, now they're actually trying, and before, I don't think they've ever made an attack like that, an attempt. I don't think we need to bring up Netanyahu's statements. Of course, he's like, "Oh, you guys have made a big mistake," and blah 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 blah. And okay, I just wonder, after that, do you think that we? Oh no, I guess I'll say my guesses on what I think is coming, and see what you think and if you agree. I think that this is going to lead to, especially with the U.S. moving missile defense systems into Israel. I think that they're with American troops on the ground, by the way, at least about American troops on the ground. I think that they're preparing themselves for a very large attack, possibly a very brutal attack on Iran, and that could be happening. I say very soon, possibly in the next,
So in the next 3
probably,
weeks.
yeah, there we go. The next probably 3 weeks. Yes, that you say that will change. That will. It is an effective system. That's the reason why Zelensky was begging for it, and the U.S. is like, no, 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 no. We're not trying to put our boots on the ground in Ukraine because, well, there are boots on the ground in Ukraine, American boots on the ground. Though they are probably contractors or people who they are on black ops missions, but they're not going to openly say, hey, we have American troops on the ground now. If they do launch off some kind of a major attack, the number one thing that is going to be targeted from Iran would be that THAAD system. And that could be the final tripwire, which Israel is looking forward to bring the U.S. into this conflict. So I'm just kind of wondering, Chris, I said a whole lot. What's your thoughts on all that?
I mean, again, as we said on the program the other night, the goal is to just clear the land, take it over, either develop, leave it as a garbage dump, leave it as ashes, develop it, whatever they're going to do with it. Clearly, they want the people who live there gone. They're about to do the same in the West Bank as well. This is just their elimination plan. If you want to call it the Greater Israel part of the this expansion is part of the Greater Israel project, then I wouldn't disagree with you, right? This looks like they're doing exactly what they want to do. It's unfortunate that Sinwar met his end. I'm sure that if you're living there, you're probably the way that you end your life is the way that you view the end of your life. He probably lived it. He probably said to his friends, his inner circle, I'm probably gonna die out here, right? I'm gonna die defending myself, my people, what have you, against these assholes. It's they're gonna have to keep going until a higher power or whatever, until karma, whatever you want to call it, whatever floats your boat, until they've had enough and they come around and just say, all right, now we're going to tip the scales in the opposite way. Matter of fact, we may just put the scale at a straight line, and your ass might just never get any footing. You might just slide right down the whole way. So I'm just, it's just a matter of time. It's unfortunate. Warren, what's going on, man? It's unfortunate what's going on there, but the United States, it looks like they're going to go get some of their own soldiers killed so they can build up some more sympathy here in the States, because clearly the messaging isn't working as well as it has in prior years. So nothing will get people to shut up and stop criticizing foreign policies more than American soldiers being killed.
Yeah. And shout out to Elise Kobe over there on the Rockfin side. Much love and appreciation for you here. Yeah, it's a couple of people over there, but not very much commenting going on. So shout out to everybody on the Rockfin side also. You too, Dirt Diggler. Did I pronounce that right? Yes. Dirt Diggler, yeah. So I mean, I just think that we got a whole lot to watch for in the next couple of coming weeks. Buckle up for, I think some of the stuff that we've seen has been kind of crazy. I think it's only going to get crazier. Oz says my faith in the U.S. military is misplaced. This is going to be shock to many. It's not a faith in the USA necessarily. It's my background is in weapons. I believe in and that's the thing about it. It's not just American weapons. I worked in a NATO mag. I understand weapons from multiple countries and the effectiveness of these weapons. the effectiveness of defense systems. And it's not just weighing on the military. I understand the technology and I understand what has worked. I've seen some of this stuff in application. So it's not that I think that the US is some unbeatable force. That I think that the reason why Israel is going to feel more used to be more belligerent is because there is stuff that's been shown to actually work, and that's all I'll say on that. Oh, we're definitely going to talk about that, Hamza. But we will see what's going to come. And so, did you want to talk about that? Actually, you know what? I'll just go ahead and bring this up. Well, let's see what Chris H have to say. But Marcus, that's when Uncle Sam's technology was strong. That ain't the case, it seems, anymore. The technology is still strong. I don't know why anybody is thinking that the U.S. technology has dropped off a cliff and it's not strong anymore. It's still strong. It's still effective. Um, the only thing that's going on is the military is stretched a lot more thinly, and so
I
how
mean,
how it's used or not. Like here, I'll give a perfect example. When the U.S. went into Desert Storm the first time, what they did was they brought more and more and more and more troops to Kuwait, and they set all those troops on the border of Kuwait, and they set up 5 million troops on the border to Kuwait with all of our different weapon systems, all the weapons, tanks, airplanes, all that stuff ready to go. The difference when George W. did it under Donald Rumsfeld, he decided to send in, starting off 250,000, and then eventually push the numbers up to around 400,000, thinking that we don't need to use the full bulk of the U.S. military like we used to. We can just use a little bit of the troops and still be effective. That was wrong. So it's not that the technology or the troops have gotten so much more weaker. It's how the military strategy that's been used. Now, facing a superpower, facing Russia or China, that's not completely held back. That's going to be a whole nother ball game. But against Iran, no, not at all. I mean, Iran could completely demolish Israel, yes, but Iran is still not on an equal footing with the U.S. They can do some damage because we have bases and troops stationed all over the Middle East that could be hit, but we could literally set up shop right in their backyard and pummel them, and they cannot come over here and do the same thing to the U.S. So it would take for Russia or China, maybe both, and North Korea, and all of them to get involved, so then they can push back, because them together is stronger. But outside of the US, our allies are weak. None of the rest of our allies can do anything. You don't have to worry about Great Britain or Spain or Italy or France. They're not strong, I'm telling you. That's where it would, once it goes into a world war and who's on which sides, that's when the US will be exposed, but not in a one to one with any of these nations. And if anybody thinks, well, what about Afghanistan? Afghanistan was a money grab. It was about grabbing resources. They didn't lose a war. They got what they needed out of that country and they left. That's what happened. But I'll leave it at that. And oh yeah, Rick says US doesn't have soldiers anymore. We don't need as many soldiers because we use, like, for instance, one of the weapons which I was a tech on, the 25 millimeter, that is now automated. They don't need a body down there like when I was in the military manning that weapon anymore. Somebody can man that weapon and a couple other weapons. One person sitting behind a computer screen. The same thing with our with the Sea Whiz, which is our anti-aircraft weapons. A lot of the stuff is went automated. They don't need real soldiers on the ground nearly as much anymore. The same thing with drone. They used to have to get soldiers in place, paint a target, a plane flies over. They don't have to do all that anymore. A lot more of this stuff's automated. But yeah, sorry for continuing on, Chris. Well, satellites start falling, everybody goes down. So then China wins. At that point, then nobody can beat China. Well, Russia still has the most amount of nukes, and they still have EMPs. So that's the reason why I say if it gets to superpowers, then you're dealing with a whole nother ball game. I see Trav Lab is in the building. What's up, Trav Lab? I see Gregory Walker said, don't know what's up with my YouTube, but I can't see the chat. Neo-colonialism. Yes, I agree. Gregory Walker says, Marcus, that's because we cucked our allies. I didn't say why. I didn't say why our allies are weak. I just said that they are. You're completely correct, sir. But let me go to your let me go to our research chat because I think I have it in there.
I used to think the Democrats.
Sorry about that. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, I forgot I put that in there, that video of the Netanyahu thing. But that's what I was going to share first. I forgot. I already have it pulled up. So let me just share my screen. That way you'll see it. What the heck? Where'd it go? Oh, there we go. So, for those who did not see it, Dr. Shiva was on with Sabby. And it wasn't the first time he's been on there. I mean, I think this is the second or third time that he's been on there. And the interesting, it got onto the topic of reparations. Now, I don't know who all. In fact, before I even do that, let me cancel this. Hold on. Let's do a recap. I don't know how many was here when I had Dr. Shiva on the show. We talked about it a little bit, and I saw many of you guys in the chat responding to what you felt. And then I believe we had an episode either the next week or a little bit after, and we talked about this. And Chris shared some feelings and views on Dr. Shiva. Before we get into how things have went about up to now, I want to bring Chris in here for some of his thoughts all the way back to when I interviewed Dr. Shiva. So Chris, your thoughts.
If I don't know if anybody remembers, but I went on a little rant about Dr. Shiva like shortly after he was on the show with Marcus. When he was talking to Marcus, I was in the chat telling him, that he's full of himself. I just don't like people who are so full of themselves that they can't, he's not in this to work with people or to build a coalition or anything like that. He's in this to build his own profile. Okay. He just wants the attention. And, I just don't like the dude. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like him. He's a smug piece of shit. You know what I mean? And he wants to seem as if he knows what the struggle is all about. You lived in upscale white neighborhoods. You went to MIT. You only dealt with white people. Your best friends are white folks. Maybe you go back to India and you deal with some of the people there, maybe some of your family members, but you don't deal with anybody else outside of white folks. Okay, your whole professional career, all of it. And maybe you cool with some other H-1B visa receivers too. outside of that, you don't deal with us. So now here you go, wanting to talk to black.
Hold on. Don't let it all out. Don't let it all. Just one of the thoughts on that, and then we're gonna share, and then continue. So I know you about to let go. Hold on. Keep the powder dry. So, because I want to share this for those who, because some of y'all saw the interview at that time. I want to share kind of, and I don't know if I'm at the right spot or not, but you can already see Sabby's face. And you can see the smugness and arrogance coming out of Dr. Shiva. So I'm going to let this play right here just a little bit. And at any point you need me to stop it, Chris, let me know and I will stop it and you can hop right in there.
That I did, okay? And the net worth of a white person is $250,000. This is right in Boston. So both of these, to me, both need to be addressed, okay? Reparations and infrastructure. They're not separated. But you cannot just do infrastructure and not address this wealth inequity, nor can you address just the wealth inequity and not address reparations. I think both are necessary. And to me, the infrastructure piece, in my view, but I'm not going to be like a liberal fucking elite like Bibi Kennedy, just trying to please black people. Oh yeah, I'm into reparations, right? Because a lot of people just say that, but they don't actually want to talk about the fundamental issues of implementing that and how that's going to happen. And how do you make sure that whether it's very poor black people, and by the way, the wages that have occurred over the last 20 years, if you look at it, I think black people's wages on average were 18K. White people's wages, like middle class poor whites were around 40. Their wages have also dropped down. So in a broad sense, what's going on is a complete, black people's wages have not increased broadly. And there is the issue of addressing that, but you have to do both in my view. So I'm not going to give you, oh yeah, I'm into reparations now because Bibi Kennedy says. It's not like and you'll see people saying that. I think you have to take a systems approach to this, and this is not an elite thing for me, because I know where I came from, all right? There's a lot of black bourgeois who talk about that, but they don't want to address the issue either. And the fundamental issue is...
I'm very well aware of that, Dr. Shiva, and I've actually called out those individuals on this show multiple times. I'm very well aware of that. And I don't mean for you to get defensive. But the reason...
Yeah, I think the reality is you look at the history of those people, and have they actually been fighting on the ground on racism? I have. You can go look at my history.
I think you're bringing up two different things, and I've seen people do this before. Again, I have called out those people on this show multiple times. My viewers will be the first to let you know. So I'm very well aware of that. But I think you are bringing up two different things. 1 minute where I was mentioning to you reparations, which is a debt that is owed, and now you bring up fighting for racism and fighting
both things. Both things, Sabby. No,
there's a difference. Well, let me finish what I was saying. There is a difference between racial justice and a debt that is owed. And that's just what I want to get across to you. No, right, they are two different things.
You're trying to put them into two different buckets. I'm saying they're interrelated.
The reason why I'm...
Yes, sir.
This way, Mr. Smarty Pants, you can see, I'm so smart, but you can see the malfunctioning taking place. So rather, you can hear the internal malfunction taking place. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I wanted to throw it, since we have it stopped right here. He said, well, yeah, Bibi Kennedy, which I hate that name, Bobby Kennedy, is not he's not supporting reparations. So he made a false statement there. So let's continue.
I'm putting them into two different buckets.
So reparations at MIT that need to be owed was that you have a bunch of people who came who were never given infrastructure, okay, at all. So the debt
that is not how reparations works, Dr. Shiva.
No. That is your definition of reparations.
No, Dr. Shiva, with all due respect, listen, with all due respect, I don't try to tell you how to do science. So I would really appreciate it if you don't know how to tell me.
Wait, Sabby. You're looking at a dark-skinned being.
No. Dr. Shiva, I do not try to tell you how to do your job. I don't try to try to tell you about that.
What's my job?
What I am saying, Dr. Shiva, what I am
what's
trying
my job,
if
Sabby?
you interrupt me again, I'm going to mute you. What I am trying to explain to you is this.
If that's how you want to talk to me,
you cannot sit here. You cannot sit here
I don't think you talk
and try
like
to tell me. You cannot sit here and try to tell me what reparations is. I know what it is. It is the debt that is owed.
Indentured servants in the United States. So don't talk to me about that.
Indians were the first indentured servants, or which Indians are you talking about? Because if you're talking about Native Americans, they weren't indentured servants. They were flat out genocided and slaves, that not indentured servants. How can you be indentured servant when somebody comes into your land, takes you into custody, and forces you to do something? Indentured servants are people who, because they receive something, they're working off a debt. And he doesn't understand these are different concepts. And if he's talking about India, well, most Indians from India did not come to this country at all during that time period. So when you had the influx of Indians come in, most of that had to be in what? The early 1900s. We're not talking about no 1800s. So, I mean, but here. Sorry, I'll let it continue.
Lower caste Indians. My great grandfather was a fucking slave. So don't talk to me about that. And you know better than me.
Talking about.
You're trying to say that you know better, and I don't know what reparations is.
What I am trying to say to you is,
and don't try to bring other people and compare me to other people.
I am trying to, Dr. Shiva. With all due respect, you don't know everything. You don't know everything. No, you do not.
Oh yeah, let me jump in and say one other thing he said. Your grandfather being a slave in India is a whole different conversation than America. You guys had a caste system. You guys were all Indians of Indian origin, Indian descent, all that. And this system came in that they decided that they want to put down and castigate people in different ways. They literally went to another continent and grabbed our ancestors and dragged over here. That's a whole different ball game that we're talking about. I'm not saying that the Indian caste system was right, but it's a different thing. It's completely different. And the fact that he's trying to make it as if these things are both exactly the same and therefore should be handled the same. Oh my gosh. How do you have this degree and you not common sense?
So hold on. You so smart, you ain't figured out how to fix the caste system in India. You ain't figured out how to have your people stop defecating on the side of the road. You ain't educate your people on, hygiene and shit like that over there, right? But you so smart. He should go back over there and deal with the utter nastiness that we see in certain pockets of his country. That's what his focus should be. Go work with them, okay? Because they are some of the most disgusting people, and they need basic lessons in hygiene. And the reason why I'm saying it like this, the reason why I hear the vitriol, is because I'm tired of people like Shiva, who, by all accounts, is extremely successful in his educational endeavors. But when it comes to Black people, they get stupid. They always get stupid. They don't know when to listen. They don't know when to shut the fuck up. They don't know how to do any of that. They always want to tell us what's better. And then they get real racist whenever we push back against them. So Dr. Shiva, he's been running a failed campaign. All he wants to do is sit there and stroke his little micro dick on the internet and say how great he is because he invented email. Well, that's going the way of the cassette tape and the CD. So congratulations. You had a 30-year run, 40-year run. Congratulations. But outside of that, the dude is just full of himself. And yeah, he's just a real smart dummy. And again, he's been at this so long. He's so smart. He can figure out systems. He learned. He understands the rules and the regulation, the systems, and all this other bullshit, but you can't figure out how to deal with people. Again, you're deficient, bro. You're not as bright and you're not as smart as you think you are. Okay, that's why, haha, you're losing. You're not going to win. You're gonna stay there. And again, the fact that you would even talk about Malcolm X, and then the follow-up video he did the next day was even worse. So he was leaning back with like a cigar in his mouth type of vibe. Like,
we're gonna play that. We're gonna play that.
Go ahead, man.
Wow, Gregory, behave. Oh my God, what? I'm reading the comments on Rockfin. Himcar says, I thought it showed immaturity on both ends. I don't really feel that Sabby was showing immaturity. I think she was deeply hurt and offended. Now, I think I think that it was from Dr. Shiva. It was very just disrespectful, how he was acting, and I can get when somebody's disrespecting you directly to your face, how you'd want to respond, especially on your own platform. So, I mean, I don't feel like it was both ways. I feel it was Dr. Shiva. And I felt if our situation would have went that way, you probably would have seen a very similar reaction out of me. Now, she did kind of raise her voice a little bit, but what would you expect in that scenario? I feel like she was pushing back and still I don't feel like she was being disrespectful, even though she was getting irritated with his behavior. Yeah, but I mean,
the problem is everybody is always so caught up on decorum and things like that. And maybe I can get caught up in it too. I'm not perfect, but sometimes we get too caught up. You have this blowhard in Shiva who just never stops talking. He cannot not hear himself talk. He couldn't even let her finish to refute her point in an intelligent way. He's not smart enough to do that. And the reason why I keep saying he's not smart enough in doing something, because this is a guy who likes to tell you how smart he is. So again, basic level communication with somebody that you're superior to, because I'm sure he felt like he's superior to Sabby, right? He's too big brain to be able to do that. So take your big brain and go sit over there by yourself, B. You know what I mean? Again, go fix the problems in your country. I don't like that dude at all. And again, I read his I read an article where he talked about, being ID'd by he had a run-in with the police or something. And in it he said, what? Because you see a brown man in this white neighborhood and I sued them and I got them on the newspaper the next day and my lawyers, and you had a little bit of capital. You were the feel-good story because you're the only brown person in the white neighborhood on that little Cambridge area, wherever you was at in Massachusetts. So fine, you got a couple crooked cops in trouble in that one little town. But you had one incident, you had money, you already live in an elitist town. You don't deal with any other minorities you don't deal with minorities, period. So you're not going to be able to run a successful campaign given that you have no interaction with the people and you don't understand the people. And you don't want to because you created email, and maybe we should just all email you what we think. I don't know, man. That dude's annoying. I'll be glad. Again, I'll be so glad when this latest political cycle is over. All of the characters that have spawned during this season, they're all whack. They're like all the MCU movies in the last year and a half. They just all bad. All bad. Except for Deadpool and Wolverine, of course.
Yeah, let's let it go a little bit more. And then I wanted to go to the other clip where I'll go to the other clip. I'll just say that.
And neither do you, Sabby.
I don't claim to.
Because
I don't
you have a dark skin.
There are certain things.
Racism is different
This
than
is
mine.
not about skin color.
Yes, it
This
is.
is about lineage. No, it is not.
Oh, really? And I don't know about
You
lineage?
don't know,
Bullshit.
Dr.
You
Shiva.
don't know my journey.
Dr. Shiva.
You
What
don't know
I'm
the
trying
fact that we grew up on.
But see, that's what he doesn't get right there. When she said this isn't about skin color, it's about lineage. It's not about you, Dr. Shiva. That's what you don't get. This is about black people, not you. This is not about you. And that's the problem with his whole campaign. Everything is about him. I mean, dude's ego is just off the chain. And that's the issue. You're so focused on you. Now, do I think that
He's mad at the white people who wouldn't accept him into whatever room he wanted to get into, and now he wants to behave as if he's some kind of a crusader. The fact is, they didn't like him and his pompous ass, so they just started closing doors on him. And this is his way of pouting and quote unquote trying to get back at them. That's all this is. He didn't get accepted into where he wanted to be accepted into.
You know, say I think, and this is a problem that I this is where I agree with a lot of FBA people, even though I wouldn't consider myself in the whole FBA camp because I don't co-sign to everything they talk about. But this is something that, okay, I'm not saying that what Black Americans went through, it discounts what you went through. It discounts your lineage, but your ancestors' issue will be with India and with Great Britain. That you can't come over here and say you have this reparations issue. You don't. America didn't do nothing to Indian people as a whole. So what the fuck are you talking about, Shiva? This is your issue would have to deal with another country completely. But I mean, I guess. Oh, sorry. Let him continue. It's only a little bit more of this left.
Under slavery and indentured servitude. You don't know about that.
I am not talking about India.
Then get to the point and don't try to bucket me.
I am talking about a debt that is owed to descendants of slavery in this country. I am not talking about India.
I'm not talking about India. I'm talking about here.
How are you talking about here? America don't owe India shit. What are you Indian shit? What are you talking about? I'm talking about India's from India. What are you talking about, dude?
I'm talking about the United States.
I am talking about a debt.
Let me tell you what you want to do. You want to say Cornel West is for reparations, and he's a black guy, and you want to bucket me as I'm not. And that.
Wow, that shows his racism. Where did Cornel West even come into this? She said nothing about Cornel West. She don't even support Cornel West. And this is something that I said in a tweet. I said, Dr. Shiva doesn't take the time to learn 5 minutes about any of the people he's talking to. I saw that with me when I looked at how he had the video titled on his channel, which that's another thing which obviously shows how narcissistic this guy is. If you're going to have this to go on somebody else's platform, why are you also sharing the video on your own platform? That takes away from views from that person and their platform and puts it all to you. And that's not what you're supposed to do when you go on another person's channel. I mean, and like for instance, for those who don't know, dude, he rescheduled with me like 4 times. And on top of that, it was stuff like, oh, I got to take my dog to the vet. And then I'll see he's on another channel with another interview with somebody bigger. And I know what it is. His people have decided that, you know what, my channel was not big enough to worry about. So going ahead, he's not that important. Push him back to the bottom of the pile. And then like they titled it as like some kind of urban whatever. I didn't title the interview as that. I didn't title. In fact, for those who know me, I focus more on foreign policy than anything. So him making it as if I was going to talk about a whole bunch of urban issues shows that this guy looks at people and sees stereotypes. and judges everybody through stereotypes instead of actually learning anything about them. Here, hold on a sec.
That is what you're trying to do.
When did I say that?
Well, why are you saying that when I say that both?
About?
Why are you saying when I say both are good that you don't want that goes over your head?
That is not what I'm saying. That I didn't say it goes over my head. What I am saying is it is very important on this show. No, it's very important on this show that we don't intermix the two, because what has happened is people will say, if you cut me off again, I swear to God, I will end this interview. I'm not kidding.
Don't threaten me. You can end it.
I'm not kidding. No, Dr. Shiva, I'm not kidding. And honestly, you're acting like an arrogant jackass. I'm telling you right now, you're acting like an arrogant jackass. Oh, I am very familiar. I am very familiar. You have no respect right now.
You're yelling at
me. Listen to what you had to say, but do not come on here and disrespect me.
Listen to anything I have to say. You kept interrupting me.
That's it. Goodbye. Jesus Christ. Eric, should I move my camera down?
Now you could tell she was trying to do her best.
I'm not laughing at her. I'm just laughing because I'd have had the same reaction. Like, yo,
yeah. I mean, the disrespect. Oh my gosh. I mean, he literally, yes, Shiva is shit lib. He starts and ends with identity politics. He automatically assumed because she's black, she obviously supports Cornel West. When at the same time, and then he found out, oh, you support Jill Stein, and then he started going on this rant about Jill Stein is a Zionist, blah, 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 blah. Jill Stein is not a fucking Zionist. And that's the same stuff which I complained about with a lot of people on the right. You can disagree, you can say this, but and you can tell me where somebody is wrong at, but you don't have to lie or make it bigger than what it is. Hamza, there is literally no evidence of her being a Zionist. How is she a Zionist when she's against, when she's for cutting funding to Israel? What are you talking about, man?
Cynthia,
or are you talking about that debunked video that he's been sharing around?
I know Cynthia McKinney called her out a while ago.
Called her out in what way?
Called out Jill Stein. There was something about a phone call, right? Where they got her on recording.
That's what I'm talking about. That recording that's been debunked. That's not. But
so it's not real.
Yeah, it's not actually her.
It's somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And that's how a lot of these things go. It gets out there, it spreads, everybody jumps onto it, and then a lot of people don't do the due diligence to go and actually check out and figure out what the heck that actually was. Yes, it's an AI recording. And so he's been running with this, and a lot of people have been running with it because, and that's part of why I hate how Twitter is right now. Twitter is so full of bullshit and people just running with the first thing that they can get and not double checking anything. What was it? I wanted to bring up, hold on, the other one with, let's see, where is it at? I thought I sent this over about your boy Shiva. Oh, there it is. Where's the video where he? Oh, there it is. Where he had a little something extra to say. I want to say, did they take it down? Where is that video at? Where he was saying, where he had his comments to say about the house. Oh, here it is. So yeah, let me share this on the screen so you guys can hear what he said.
nigger. I'm off the plantation. But this woman is still on the plantation. I'm not a house nigger. Okay? I'm a field nigger. I'm off the plantation. But this woman is still on the plantation.
I disagree with you about Dr. Stein being a Zionist, by the way. Your platform, I don't see a Black agenda. So for you, if you were president, what would be your agenda for Black America?
Well, I've always said this. If you go look at my videos, it's about infrastructure.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I have to step in here because we've heard the infrastructure story for quite some time, and I'm not saying that that's not an issue, but the reality is the racial wealth gap, and the only way to fix that, which data has proven this time and time again, is reparations for descendants of slavery in this country.
Frankly, Sabby Sabs thinks she's smart, but she's basically a fucking house slave to Jill Stein, is promoting Jill Stein. And she said, I don't think she's a Zionist. Jill Stein is a fucking Zionist. Don't fucking talk to me about reparations. Let's talk about reparations for my people. But she didn't want to have that discussion because she is a Aunt Jemima who wants to be a Jill Stein house slave.
I just can't believe the gall of this dude, the shit that comes out of his fucking mouth. Like, it shows that you're online because
you know me. If you
can't,
want,
you can't
like,
say that shit to nobody, you can't say that shit to nobody face to face.
You know, if you want to play like that, we could play like that. You know what I mean, just don't get mad whenever I don't stop. Don't get mad whenever, you know, I go, you know, I go lower than you do.
Well, I'm not gonna keep talking. I'm gonna put hands on you. That's what.
No, but I'm saying. So then I, you know, this morning I woke up. I was like, fuck it. So I started going at him on Twitter. He's like, oh fuck you, Jill
I got
Stein supporter. And you know, like I don't even care. He just sounds so stupid. You're a Jill Stein supporter. That was the best thing he could say. I mean, look, not only did he call her a house nigga, he said she's some Aunt Jemima. You see, like, who the fuck are you? I wish this would get back to his team, his person, Ryan. I hope they got people listening. You dirtbags. Yo, if you guys crash, I'll throw a party. Like, that's how I feel. Because you know, you're supposed to be a little bit better than that. So, you know, I don't have any goodwill towards you people at all. I really don't. I don't. And that's what's going to be going forward. You know, you feel a way about me, I'm going to feel a way about you. That's it. You know, I don't care how many times you mention Malcolm X. It don't matter.
Yeah, and he was saying that my hero Malcolm X said it perfectly in 1963.
Too many times we mad nice,
like Kamala and Stein.
We mad nice. We give breaks. We understand, but you know, it's at a point where you know what, trying to align myself with you is not benefiting at all. So that's why I say certain alliances. You know, and again, it's funny. This reparations talk causes more, it reveals more feelings and true sentiments than anything else. Billions to Ukraine. You won't protest your government that much. Reparations to black people. Oh my God, you're writing letters, you're emailing, you skating up there, you riding your bike up there, you driving your car up to whomever to try to stop this.
And we're talking about, and when we talk about reparations, we're talking about being paid out over like decades and decades and decades, years. Like they're just throwing out trillions like it's nothing to other countries.
Yeah, and again, there's always additional calculations and studies and thoughts, and well, maybe this would be better, maybe that could be better, maybe this, like even the Kamala plan, what did she say? We'll protect cryptocurrency for black men. So you're not going to protect other people's crypto investments? I mean, it's just stupid. The weed legalization, only black men benefit from you legalizing marijuana. It's just very dumb. When it comes to black people, again, the dislike that has been sown, it is so deep.
Oh, I brought up your tweet, by the way.
Yeah, the moment that something comes up that looks like they're going to benefit, even the most well-intentioned, well-meaning person will find an excuse not to want to do it.
He called you the racist.
Yeah. He called me the racist. That's why I had to laugh. Yeah.
And it's like he doesn't even know you don't support Jill Stein.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't.
That's what
know
I mean about this dude. Don't take 5 minutes to learn anything about anybody.
No,
he just jumps to assumptions and conclusions that are often wrong. And he reminds me of a bad girlfriend who, I mean, not saying that this defines you as necessarily a bad girlfriend, but like a lot of times in relationships, people jump to conclusions that are wrong. This is like the woman who, like, you know what? He was 10 minutes late. So what that means is more than likely he went to the neighbor's house and maybe he got off an hour early. And so that 10 minutes. So actually now he's cheating and he's had an affair for the last 8 years. I mean, this is Dr. Shiva taking giant fucking leaps and assuming things. And it's like, I just look for the day that somebody just punches him in his fucking mouth. That's all I want.
And he won't, because again, you know, for someone who's trying to build a movement, you don't see him outside. He only exists on the internet. It's always come join my Zoom, check my workplace, come on down to my channel so I can teach you about the things I know. Like, that's all he ever is. He don't be out in no streets. You know, fine, he's got his name on a couple ballots across the country. Congratulations, you guys worked hard on that. That is not an easy accomplishment. You needed a lot of signatures. You need a lot of petitions. Okay, you did that. Congrats, you were successful in that. That's as far as you're gonna go. So you should have saved your money from the first time. Had you hired a real consultant, we could have told you, nah, bro, you ain't got no chance. You're better off starting a YouTube channel talking to people, because that's what he's gonna end up with. A YouTube channel talking to people. All right. I don't know. Maybe he could work on something else. I don't know. But I was just extremely disgusted with him. And, you know, Sabby is a very respectful woman. She carries herself extremely well. She doesn't mean any harm. You know, she's intelligent and didn't need to be addressed that way by that dude. It's, you know, too bad she didn't have a panel on with, you know, other people, because I'm pretty sure if she had other people on, they would have, you know, joined in to put him in his place and to check him. But, you know, I'm over him. I was never really on him. From the first few times I heard him, I just said he's more full of himself than anything else. So yeah, doctor, you've been canceled. You've been canceled. You ain't never gonna win shit. So just start your channel up.
Well, he already got a channel up. That's all he's going to be about is working the grift, because, I mean, well, and I knew not only was he not going to win, he would never win that case that he's talking about trying to make it so he's even eligible to be a candidate. So it's just, I mean, he honestly should be happy that a lot of people even entertained him and gave him the time of day to listen to what he had to say, because we all know you have no chance at fucking winning. We all know that. That's like literally the first question I asked him about the naturalized citizen thing.
Why he couldn't build an email list with a group of capable candidates for Congress? Why he couldn't do that? He couldn't build that email list?
Hell, he could run for Congress. That ain't gonna work. I mean, for one, here's a bigger issue. Temperament. Dude don't have the temperament to lead anybody. That's one of the first things you got to have. If you don't know how to fucking talk to people, if you don't know how to have respect or patience, you got to realize, what is a president's job when you really think about it? A president is supposed to work for the people. A president is supposed to be, a politician is supposed to be, I know they're not, but supposed to be a servant of the people. How can you be a servant of the people if you think you're better than the people and can't even fucking listen to them? That's like politicians. We're actually their bosses. That's how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be their bosses. And so in that respect, would you talk to your boss like that, like he just did? No, you wouldn't. That's the reason why he's not suited to lead any fucking thing. And I just hate that our sister Sabby had to fucking deal with that bullshit. And so I just wanted to, talk about that for a little bit. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Hamza, don't bring his bitch ass up no more. I'm just done with that dude. Don't bring his bitch ass up no more. Now, I'm not Chris. I'm not gonna go and insult the whole Indian community because he's a piece of shit, Vivek's a piece of shit, and Nikki Haley are pieces of shit. I'm not gonna do that. But one thing I will say is, from the videos that I've seen online, India, y'all got to do something about y'all PR, because I don't even want to try Indian food in America. I'm so traumatized from the shit that I've been seeing these videos from overseas. I don't even want to try the food in America because I'm fucking worried about some nasty shit going on. Now,
no, look,
maybe
look at
that's not fair. Maybe that's not fair and that's not right, but I can't help it because that's what I feel, because I've seen so much gross and disgusting shit going on. Apologies.
Look, also, also, if you go and look at the first response to me, you could look what they say. Oh, look at you, Black Americans, always crying by reparations, blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to use it to smoke crack. So again, I'm talking to Shiva, and one of his followers responds by saying, I want reparations so I can go smoke crack. Okay? And he said, oh, Black people, this is what they want to do with their money. So again, you're gonna shoot me, I'm shooting back. That's what it is.
If you don't like
it, you guys, if you don't like it, go back home, fix yourself, fix your people.
Well, that's the reason why Shiva and none of the people who are rocking with him. If you're rocking with Shiva, then I'm gonna have a critical eye looking at you. I'm definitely gonna have a critical eye looking at you, because anybody who's gonna talk that reckless and act that way, to me, if you'll talk that reckless, you'll do more reckless. If push come to shove, and it shows that he got a strand in his group of racist mofos. That's the same way which I
come from.
Well, I'm talking about not even, because all his people aren't even Indians, but I'm talking about even all that whole movement of people. However your leader is, it reflects on all the people who follow him. So if you follow a piece of shit, then I mean, come on, you gotta separate yourself.
Exactly, Kaladin. Correct.
Oh, of course he's like, oh, yeah, those guys, those are the racist ones over there, but you don't have to worry about me. I'm the good one. I mean,
the moment that Vivek is better at raising money than he is.
Dude, I would vote for Vivek before I would vote for him.
I mean, I don't mess with none of them, but
I mean, I don't either, because Vivek is just a straight con man. Period. At least I know he's smart enough to not disrespect me to my face. That's what I'm saying. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Man, sometimes when you read the chat, damn man, I got bad indentions from these glasses. Sometimes you read the chat, boy, it'd be some crazy shit y'all be saying out there. Mm-hmm. Y'all be saying some crazy shit.
But I mean, other than that, so his any future prospects he has, he's done. He's finished. So
and I'll put it out there too. If you somebody who you rocked with him and now you seen that shit, like, whoa, okay, I ain't with all that shit. And okay, cool. But after this, if you still rocking with him, I gotta look at you sideways. And I mean, hey, it is what it is, and that's honestly the reason why you could never ever see me voting for anybody on the right, because I grew up in an area with libertarians, with rhinos, as y'all want to call them, with conservatives, And literally, it was 50-50 that I was going to run into somebody that was going to call me a nigger. 50-50. So anybody, oh, we're not, I'm not that way, and I'm a libertarian. Okay, yeah, you might not be like that, but you know what? The probability of me running into one of y'all who is that way is extremely fucking high. And I just need to say this I gotta say this also. One other thing that I'll put out there, because I heard what was his Dan Blitzerian, some whatever. I hear a lot of libertarians saying, well, all this woke stuff and DEI is dividing us. We have not been fucking united. We have not been united. We need to stop saying that it's dividing us, because we have not been fucking united. There's always been a fucking divide way before any of this shit came around. The only difference is me and Chris, after we experienced some racist shit probably back in the 80s, would have kind of just looked at each other and not said nothing. And then once we left the room, like, you believe what this racist motherfucker just said to me? And then we go back into work and you never know nothing else. And that's the only difference between now and back then. Now we're fucking like, yo, you just said that racist shit to me to my face. Now it's just being called out. But there's always been that division. So for anybody thinking, well, back in the 90s, we didn't have that bullshit. Yes, you fucking did. If you had more than one black person, or more than one person of color around a whole bunch of white people, there was always that division. So any of y'all who want to try to do this revisionist history and pretend like, oh, it's just once Obama came that everything got separated, you are a fucking liar. Or you're just fucking ignorant of what reality was really going on.
They are not knowing anymore. They're not knowing anything. So now I must not. They're not my friends anymore. They're not my cousins. They're now my enemies. So now we cannot be friends. They cannot come to the cookout. They cannot show up anywhere near me no more. They cannot call my phone. That is it. It is over now.
You're so wrong. Honestly, Senora, I wonder that too, because I used to always do the benefit of the doubt, and if my cousin, he'll watch this later, I know, and we'll talk about it. But if he was in the chat, he'll tell y'all I used to be the biggest give the benefit of the doubt always type of person. I mean, I still am to a large degree, and I'd be like, well, maybe it was just this or that, and so I like to try to say, well, nah, maybe that person isn't, but I don't know. And now I'm starting to lean towards the, when I don't know about you, I just kind of gotta think that you are that closet. So I mean, I would hope that he's not, and I hope he's not. But I don't know. But I also look at, whenever I look at that whole kind of libertarian right, even if they're not explicitly racist, there's some closet racism going on, or some unconscious racism that almost all of them have that I've ran into. I'm not saying every single one, but the percentage is definitely very fucking high.
They don't know how to, you know, what's funny is their problem, rather, not funny. Their problem is they don't have any nuance when it comes to discussing black folks or people not like them, or non-black people, if you will. You know, when it's white folks, or they're even other people, they understand it's a bit of nuance. Whenever it comes to black people specifically, there's no nuance to be had. Any criticism that they would like to make, they're unable to do it. They're unable to do it in a productive way, right? Because there is criticism to be made of everybody. You know, you just can't apply one negative thing to everyone, but they don't get it. You know, that's why I responded the way I did toward Shiva. Like, okay, you want to be smart? I'm gonna show you what stupid look like. Then fuck it.
I mean, well, and was it Hamza brought up? He sees it towards American Communist Party, which I haven't really had any engagements with too many of those people, and most of the ones I've had engagement with, I would say like 90% of them have been probably Black or Hispanic. So I haven't really ran into that nearly as much, which I'm not saying that
what's funny
Hispanic
is,
can't be racist.
oh,
I'm just saying I haven't with the Communist Party people ran into those scenarios, but and I've said this before. I said honestly, even on the left, it's just a lot of our contemporaries. They kind of have once you start getting into asking about woke and DEI and all that, a lot of people start getting exposed. In my opinion, they start letting out how they really feel.
They should stop using woke, because really what they're mostly talking about more than anything else
Is
is
gay
the
stuff.
LGBT.
Yeah.
Correct. That's
not even
people,
fucking woke. That has nothing to do with woke, actually.
Correct. That's why they should be. They're afraid to say it because they know what the pushback is going to be, but it's really not anything about anything other than that.
Travel I think that's who it is. He says all non-Afro-Americans are racist. I'd like to hope not. I don't think so, but I don't know. All I can do is go off of the experiences which I've had, and I've met people of all different stripes that I don't take as racist, but also it's just a matter of what percentage of each group, because every group has racists. Every group. I mean, and there's even Black people who can't stand Black people. We got the Uncle Ruckuses. So
you got
there
your
there
hood
is
niggas, you got your smart dudes, you got your in between guys, you got your athletes, you want to be athletes, your musicians, your regular food. It's a wide. The spectrum is wide. You know what I mean? As is the thought, as are the perspectives in each one.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but I do know that in some of these other certain groups that I've ran into, I've just ran into say higher numbers of racism in certain areas. And I'm not talking about where I think something's racist. I've ran into plenty of like direct racist shit. I mean, I've seen it multiple times. So that's all I'm saying. I guess Reed Hendricks says guilt by association. Okay. I'm not saying guilt by association, but I'm definitely going to look at you sideways. I'm going to now be more critical of you and have to like suss you out a whole lot more. Because if you found out like I hung out with nothing but criminals, aren't you going to wonder if I might possibly be a criminal? It's only common sense and self-preservation to actually be a little bit more critical of people who have shown you questionable behavior. I don't think that that's crazy. I don't know. Does anybody in the chat feel that that's crazy to be a little bit more skeptical and careful with people who show questionable behavior?
The lines will split more, as the season turns on and we find ourselves in the next political cycle.
Right there, what Rick just said. Light-skinned Mexicans are the worst to to their own kind for real. We just saw that happen out here in Cali not that long ago. When the three ones were talking about, oh, he's with the blacks, and then they start shitting on Mexicans from I think it was Oaxaca. Talk about they're so brown and ugly. And they're dirty and they're all short and little. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You got it in all the different groups, because a lot of FBAs will start talking about Hispanics and their beef with Black people. I'm like, y'all realize how many of them beef with their own fucking people? That they have a self-hatred of their own people so badly that they literally shit on their own family members. And I'm not talking about no distant family. I'm talking about direct family member who might be a couple of shades darker than them. All because they're a couple of shades darker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
as far as I go, I'm pretty much tapped out. I don't have anything else on the docket for now.
that's pretty much all I have there. Let's see this last one. Fiorella also was. I'm not reading that one out loud, but I get what you're saying. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying I get what you're saying. Rick says, yeah, they will call you Indio.
I know Black Eye Dominican. You know, they
Indio, Paisa, all that different stuff. Yeah.
You know, the Dominicans are famous for that. That's they saying, I know Black Eye Dominican. That's they shit. No matter, and they be darker than me. They be darker than the shirt on me, and they be like, oh, I'm Dominican. All right, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Ricans is on that funny money shit, less than the Cubans, but the Ricans got their funny money shit too.
But that's what I'm saying. Every group got a certain amount of that in it, because like for instance, you can go to dang, why am I blanking on the name of the town? Fuck, I can't remember. Louisa. Like, you got some who are from like San Juan and from Bayamon, and they'll go out to Louisa and then be like, ugh, they don't like the darker ones. So you have that even on the island. I'm just saying that, yeah, that there is, and that's a whole nother conversation about, you know, colorism and all that. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yes, Chamonique. So I mean, you have that on the island too. I mean, and like with Dominicans, you got two different type who say that. The ones who say that they're not black. You got the ones who really are like, no, don't associate me with anything black at all. I'm a Dominican. And then you got the ones who are like, I'm not a black American. Whereas they're not separating from African heritage. They're separating from being an American, from being black American, because you have some people that be like, oh, look at these other people trying to pretend they're like us. And so, I mean, there's and it comes from both sides of the community. So, I mean, think about it. We had that back in the day with plenty of African immigrants, where black Americans were shitting on Africans. So, I mean, there's all kind of degrees of all this stuff going on, and it's a nuanced conversation, and it's not as simplistic. Yes,
you know,
Rick nails it right here. Rick nails it right here, because that goes into some of the stuff which goes on in India, and colonialism has fucked everyone up. And I'm not just talking about colonialism as it came from the Brits and Americans and all that. I'm talking colonialism going all the way back to the ancient Greeks, when they went through taking over all kind of different parts of Asia Minor into all the way as far as India. So colonialism has definitely done a number on a lot of people. Yeah, I've seen that. Jason Black, he does. So, I mean, it's a nuanced conversation. I try to not be like that at all. I try to treat people as individuals and deal accordingly. And when I find like I can't fuck with you, I can't fuck with you. So
Jason Black and B1, they spend a lot of time just where they are reading the internet. They on the internet a lot. Again, I know I'm on the internet a lot too, but it don't seem like they really ever go outside, or they haven't been outside in some time. I know, you know, they probably put in their work, but some of their discussions are just brain dead. They may as well be like right-wing conversations and how brain dead it is.
Well, that's what it's starting to turn to.
You're basing your dislike on these people from the teachings of their parents, but yet most of the kids don't. Yeah, they may make comments, but in reality, there's a lot of solidarity there. So I don't know why they want to take the small portion of West Indians or Caribbean people or Africans who make the negative comments about Black Americans and then just apply that to everybody. You know, and again, you're not whenever you're in the standing, you are talking how you do. You know, that's a different conversation for another day.
But yeah, that's a different conversation because Chris is not. I wouldn't say that well, I'm not going to categorize, but I say kind of Chris leans from more of a Pan-African lens, and I would say I lean from more of a so-called BIPOC lens, and so we both got because I feel like that people are doing the same thing with Latinos also in different Asian groups. Every single one is not like a lot of these, and I feel when we take that lens of but I don't know, that's a whole different discussion. We'll get into that on another day, but that's pretty much all we have. You said who is Riza Islam? I definitely recommend you check out a lot of his stuff. He dropped some very good information. And even though I don't necessarily agree with all the theology of NOI, I do feel like a lot of there's a lot of powerful and very highly intelligent brothers within the NOI. So I do have a lot of respect for that. I just don't necessarily agree on everything with them theologically. But yeah, Riza, I think check him out. Powerful brother. Old man Barker, you said, huh? What do you mean? Are you curious what the NOI is? Or not sure what NOI is? Or yes, him on Jesse was good. I think he did an amazing job on Jesse. I think he does a good job just in general. He keeps his cool. He's pretty level-headed and just intelligent guy. So oh yeah, I want to put this out again. I said at the beginning of the show, and I want to plug this again. I have an interview scheduled for tomorrow. It will not be our typical, kind of heavier topics. I will have a comedian. He's actually touring right now, bouncing all over the place. He goes by the name of Jawan Cap. Well, Jawan Cap's his name, but it's No Cap Comedy. No as in K-N-O-W, so no as in knowledge. But No Cap Comedy. We will be on tomorrow. What's up, Yona? I see Yona's in the building. But yeah, we will be on tomorrow. What is that? 1 p.m. Eastern. What is it? 10 a.m. Pacific. So make sure to check that out. And not only comedy, he has a bunch of different stuff that he's doing. He helps with a lot of up and coming comics. So if y'all interested in checking that out, be here tomorrow, and hopefully I see y'all in there. And I'll probably post something tomorrow in the community notes so that as a little bit of a reminder. So hopefully y'all come in there. And if y'all have any kind of questions, and I can remember, I will try to throw some of those questions into the young man. But yeah, that's all we got. Chris, you got anything else?
No, that's it. We appreciate everybody who came through to listen. If we're a little rough, on Shiva, too bad, he deserved it. We'll have, we'll be back next week, same time, same bat channel, as they say. We'll see what happens. The closer we get to election, the crazier the stories are going to be. So over the next
some people are already voting.
Yeah. And then in the next 3 weeks, we're just going to see wild stories. So I look forward to just, following up on them. Yes,
most definitely. Yeah, free Palestine, fuck Israel, forever and one and a day more. Yeah, I think it's going to be a whole lot of stuff that's just going to escalate soon as far as that, and we will see where that goes. That said, this has been the Political Matrix. I am Marcus Young Morpheus Cage, here with my brother, Mr. Cy Lawson, aka Chris. Free Congo, definitely. Also, well, free all oppressed people around the world. That's what I
For
say.
everybody.
So, that said, thank y'all again. Y'all could, like Chris used to say all the time, y'all could be anywhere else, but y'all decided to be here with us, and we definitely appreciate and love y'all. Thank y'all very much. Oh yeah, we did an interview the other day. No, my phone's dead. But I was trying to remember the name of their channel. Actually, I think I did put it out in the community in a post, the interview, so y'all can go and check it out. The interview that me and Chris did over there with Abby and Michael. Um, and we will be doing a follow-up interview with them at some time. And also we'll probably try to work them into coming onto the show one of these times. So definitely y'all go check that out. Kaladin said, glad I caught y'all live for a minute. Definitely appreciate having you here. And that said, y'all all have a wonderful night, wonderful evening. For those who be in for the interview tomorrow, I will see y'all then. And that said, stay blessed, less stressed. Have a good one.
Peace out, y'all.